So, Chris, how did you end up in Destin?
Well, Destin's a favorite destination of my wife and I's. Has been for some time. We would vacation here quite a bit. And about 5 years ago, I was involved in a pretty big accident, and in the wake of that, I was diagnosed with what's called CRPS, which is CRIPS, is what we like to call it, which is a degenerative nerve condition that in Colorado, which is my home state, it's something that really is debilitating. So the doctors had told me that I had about 8 to 10 years left before I would be completely handicapped, incapable of walking. So when we started talking about, well, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? What was recommended to me was being at sea level. And of course, the first thing that clicked in our minds was Destin, Florida. I mean, how we would make that work is different, but that's how we chose Destin, and that's how we came to be here.
So, when you got here, how did you support the family?
Well, no, that's it. How do we support the family? So I've been a builder. I've been a contractor for the last 15 years, and the last 12 of those years, I had my own construction company in Colorado, where we did very well. I mean, I had a national license through the International Code Council. I built in multiple states, and my company was flourishing. So construction's pretty much what I knew. That's what I did. So the doctors completely advised that I don't continue down that path. So I had to start from scratch. I had to start over. But what I did know, and I knew very well in my developing side of things in Colorado, flipping homes and buying real estate, was that I could probably do pretty well in the short-term rental market here. So when we first got down here, I invested a pretty sizable amount of money in 3 properties within the retreat at Miramar. These are all multi-million-dollar properties, and so I bought the first filing out when this was nothing but dirt, and I saw the potential.
So, you bought the houses, and then were you going to manage them, or what was your plan?
Well, yeah. So I originally bought them. Well, actually, in fairness, I didn't want to manage them. I didn't want anything to do with management. My original intention was to try to go into more of the real estate side of things and let some of the other great companies in town manage. But when I started interviewing the management companies, although they handle volume quite well and they can rent the properties just as well as anybody can, what became pretty apparent to me was the lack of maintaining them. So during my due diligence period, I had asked each one of the 5 companies that I interviewed to show me, one of their top producers that they've never had any other management company manage, and it's a relatively new property. So I looked at those properties, and pretty much unanimously, I found that the homes had taken quite a bit of abuse, and they just weren't being maintained. So naturally, the natural progression of things with me and my background in building, maintenance is about the easiest thing for me. That made me comfortable jumping into the market as long as I could understand the rentability aspect of it. How do we get them booked? And so at that point, that was when I launched Destin Dreamers.
And tell us, what is Destin Dreamers and what is unique about them?
So Destin Dreamers started with just me managing my own properties. I love the brand and what we created behind Destin Dreamers, because Destin Dreamers is really an experience. Destin Dreamers is so much more than just a property management company. We wanted to start an idea that everybody that was going to come down to the Emerald Coast, we wanted to share the love that we had for this area, for the people here, for the community that has been here for so long. Destin is a very unique town, and really the surrounding towns, Miramar Beach and Pensacola, and all the way down to Panama City and Seaside. I mean, all these these places they're spectacular, and the people within them are equally as spectacular. And so we wanted to create something that we got to personally meet the guest upon arrival and share this love of the area with them, answer their questions, and that's where it really started, was that the experience behind it.
And then when it comes to the owners, what's Destin's Dreamers philosophy with dealing with the owners?
Well, the success that we had in previous businesses was understanding who the client was. And although we love our guests, and we are very thrilled to meet them and to answer their questions, we understand that as owners of the properties, as they entrust their properties to us, they are our clients. And it is our number one goal to protect their investment, not only from a maintenance standpoint, but from a liability standpoint as well. And so that became a unique attribute of our company, that we started getting owners that wanted us to manage for them, because we had a personal side of the industry that it hasn't been seen yet. And even to this day, it probably isn't. And so the owners wanted to share a part of that and be a part of this, and that's really kind of how it started to transform into something more than just my personal properties, but we started opening it up to the public.
One of the things you also do is help future owners find investment properties.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Well, I love a good deal, and so does an investor. And I've always been able to find spectacular investment opportunities in real estate. It's always been something that's been kind of a carried on joke in my family. They always laugh about how do I find these amazing deals. And quite honestly, they're all around us at any given time. And it really comes down to being able to meet owners that currently own the investment properties and finding out what they need. Because where I've excelled is the off-market, or what we call in real estate, the pocket listing. None of these homes that I purchased within the retreat were for sale, nor were they being listed on the market for sale. These were pocket listings. They were yet to be on the market. And I've found that most investors are looking for that off-market property. And that's where I've really been able to diversify myself from even others in the real estate market, is I've been able to find the investments that others can't find because they're not listed on the MLS. So.
And once you help someone find one of those investments, what's the process from going from it's listed, you're looking at it, to getting set up to have it listed so there's rental income?
So with any investment, there's a due diligence period. The due diligence period, which I can help with, is really understanding what is the return on investment going to be for this individual property that I found for you. And there's two aspects to that. There is the return on investment from a rental standpoint, which we're hoping to find something that yields a cash-on-cash return that basically the property is going to pay for itself. But there's also the appreciation part of it, which is significant. When I first started in the retreat, the first property I bought, I paid $839,000 for it. That is 23 Callaway, and that's Callaway. But I bought that property for $839, 4,200 square feet, 7 bedroom, 7 bath. And 1 year later, in 2018, May of 2018, I sold it for 1.6. So that I knew that the appreciation was there. And so I didn't care on that investment that the short-term rental might not be as good as what I wanted. I knew the appreciation was the model that I was going to capitalize on. Now, other properties that I bought, I told you I bought 3 within the retreat. The other 2 I've sold as well, and those were substantially good short-term investments. I mean, they have really done well in the short-term rental market, and I've been able to sell those to investors that want something that's turnkey. They want something new. They want something that has already got an established rental history, And I was able to capitalize on selling those properties. The property that we're videoing from right now, that's a good case in point where we bought this at $700,000 and we've sold it for $1,050,000. And so this is something that the return on investment for this investor is significant enough to pay for itself because of what we have established as a company, as Destined Dreamers. The return on investment is substantial here. And so there's two different approaches to that that I've already outlined.
What would be some of your top tips for investing in Destin? Which is your website name, by the way, investindestin.com.
Right. The tips really are establishing a relationship with a local agent, like myself, that one, they know the area, and two, they might either have inside knowledge of upcoming properties that are yet to be on the market, but they can actually forecast the market. Forecasting the market is critical. Knowing where the market's going, knowing the market trend is really everything. I mean, any investor is going to tell you if you can predict the market, then you can predict your rate of return or your return on investment. And so local knowledge is critical with that. And although I haven't been here as long as some of these other agents, I have established myself in a record time because I am in the community. I try to be as immersed in the community as possible so that I know everything that's going on. Because again, if you look at Destined Dreamers, our motto is celebrating life, dreaming fully awake. We want to immerse ourselves in this community and know everything that we can, whether it's to assist, a vacation goer that's coming here and we're trying to tell them about why we love this area so much, or it's trying to assist in somebody that wants to buy here either for themselves or as an investment. Knowing as much as we can about the area helps us to assist anybody, whether they're the vacation or the investor.
So to wrap up, Chris, what drives you? What's your passion?
Well, I'm 6 years in a 10-year mark that I should be handicapped, right? My motivation is simple. I'm going to live life to the fullest, and I'm gonna celebrate life. And whether I have 4 more years or not is to be seen. But I feel that I'm going to be walking for a lot longer, and I think that's because my attitude is there. I have a relationship with God that I know that whatever happens, I'm going to stay positive. And my motivation is simple. I'm not going to let this beat me, and I'm going to live life to the fullest no matter what. And I want each one of you that's watching to just realize that when you have that same outlook, truly you can do miraculous things, and you can and really the sky's the limit. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is I'm trying to show that the sky's the limit and we're all blessed as long as we know it. So